Tiger Ted Lowry, back in 1949, 1950, 2 battles with future undefeated heavyweight champion Rocky Marciano. You twice went the distance with him. Very few people did that. In your first fight, the Providence Journal reported that they thought you won the fight 6 rounds to 4.
Right.
What do you remember about those fights with the great Marciano?
Well, I can tell you that it was a good fight. And
You're talking about the first one?
Yeah, first one. And he was well conditioned, you know. But he fought me in a crouch, you know. And my idea of fighting person in the crouch is right uppercuts, you know, and that's what I thought. He fought in the crouch, and I kept hitting him with right uppercuts, and it was amazing. I've knocked people out with that punch, and he just kept coming back. He swung wild punches, but he just kept coming. He was a well-conditioned fighter, yeah.
But as well-conditioned as he was, and as rugged and resilient as he was, did you think he was championship material?
No. And actually, I thought that they were bringing him along. I thought they were picking the fights for him, you know. I really did, you know, because he had won 20 fights then, and when he fought me, you know, and they were all knockouts. Every one of them was a knockout, you know. So I thought they were picking fights for him, you know. But I was really surprised when I got in there. I found out that he really could punch, you know, because he hit me on my arm one time, you know, and almost numbed my arm, you know.
Did he have any type of body attack with you?
He tried, yes, he did.
So show us what kind of crouch you would use or what kind of defense you would use.
I'm this way. This is the way I do when I'm my body, you know. And I got this hand up here in case he throws a punch at my head, you know. But this way here. And then I have a great habit of knocking punches away, you know, when I come, you know.
So you fought guys like Archie Moore, Roland LaStarza, Lee Oma, Joey Maxim.
Yeah.
How did Rocky compare to them, both as a puncher and as a boxer?
He was stronger than them, but he was not smarter than them. They were smart fighters. They'd been fighting a long time and had a lot of fights, you know. Where Rocky, when I fought Rocky, he'd only had 20 fights. And at that time, I had 67 fights, you know. So actually, he really didn't belong in the same ring with me if you figure that, you know, according to the amount of fights he had. But he's well conditioned. And
were you surprised when Rocky was willing to fight you again? I mean, you obviously frustrated him.
I was taken by surprise because I had no idea that I was going to get a second bout with him. Excuse me. And I wasn't in the best of condition. I'm not making no excuses, don't get me wrong. But if I had known that I was going to fight him again, I would have trained for it. And I think the outcome would have been a lot different, you know. But they took me by surprise when they made the match. In other words, what I did was I substituted for another fighter. That's what happened. That's why I didn't know I was going to fight him.
Tell us a little bit about Archie Moore. A little more about Archie Moore.
Archie was quite a fighter. Archie was a fighter that fought with like in this style, and he was hard to get to. And when I met him at first, you know, I was training in Baltimore. They asked me to come down and work out in the gym. That usually helped sell the show because not many people knew me, you know. So I was in there working out, and I always look good in the gym because I work good. And a fella come up to me and he says, "Are you the young man that's fighting Archie Moore?" I said, "Yes, I am." He said, "Oh," he says, "you look pretty good." He said, "I think you'll do all right." He said, "He's a boxer. You don't have to worry, you know." So my trainer always told me, never pay much attention to what they tell you in the gym, you know, never so. So later, the next day I was training, and a young boy come up and he said, "You know," he said, "I've been watching you train." He said, "You look good." He said, "I'm going to bet on you, you know." He says, "Archie's a boxer, you know." And I didn't pay no shit. But the third day, somebody come up, nobody that I never knew, you know, come up and said, Archie was a boxer, you know. So the trainer and I was in my corner man, and I said, there must be something to it. He must be a boxer, you know. So when we got in the ring that night and we, excuse me, and we facing each other, I looked at him. He didn't have a mark on him. So I said to myself, well, they're right. He was a boxer, and a good boxer, too, because he had a lot of fights, you know, and he wasn't banged up at all, you know. So I looked at him, and he looked at me, and I could see the expression on his face. It said, oh, this ain't going to take long, you know. But I said to myself, hey, it's going to take a lot longer than you think, you know. So it was a close fight, you know. I think they gave it to him because he was a hometown fighter, you know. He fought most of his fights in Baltimore, you know, and they gave it to him. But he hit me harder than anybody. He hit me with a left hook. And that was just before I got married, my first marriage, you know. And boy, it almost broke my jaw, you know, because when I went home and I ate with the family that I was getting ready to marry, I couldn't eat, you know. I had to eat soup, you know. But he never hit me with that punch again, you know.
Now, do you think that in his prime, Archie Moore would have beaten in his prime Rocky Marciano?
Yeah. I really, I hate to say it, but it's true. See, Rocky, as I said, Rocky was tough and well-conditioned. But he used to swing punches from way out here. And smart fighters, you got no business hitting anybody with a punch from way out there, you know? And Archie was smart. Ezzy Childs was smart. And the old man, what was his name? Jersey Joe Walker. He was smart. They don't get hit with no punches like that, you know? But of course, they were on their way out at the time then, you know, when he fought him. But I'm not saying taking anything away from Rocky. I mean, because he was good, he stayed in there. And he took whatever they gave him, whatever he got, you know, he took them, you know. But,
Well, Ted, from the looks of you, 87 years old, you didn't take too many punches either.
No. My trainer taught me good. My teacher taught me very good. My teacher was Roy Brooks, and he was he was understudy to Jack Johnson. So he knew how to pick punches out of the air, and he taught me, you know. So I never took many punches. I've been knocked down, but I got up.
After one of the fights with Marciano, you went out to the, I believe it was called the Celebrity Club in downtown Providence?
Yeah, we met Ella Fitzgerald. Yeah.
So you and Rocky turned out to be somewhat friendly.
We were very friendly, you know. He was a nice kid, you know. And I say kid because I was older than he was, you know. But we got along well, you know. Yeah.
Does it? Do you feel proud to be linked with him after all these years?
Oh, definitely.
Or do you get sick of people asking you the same question?
No. It makes me feel like my time was worth it. You know, that all the time that I spent 15 years fighting. You know, and if it hadn't been for Rocky, nobody would have ever known me. Pardon me. You know, so naturally I felt good about him. And now, more so now, because of him, I'm well known, you know.
So when you fought a guy like Archie Moore in a strange town, you'd make $300 or $400, $200 or $300.
That's right. Yep. But see, I don't know exactly what I was making because the fellas that were booking my fights were the ones that were doing the business. And when the fights were over, they never told me how much I made. They just come and give me a couple $100 or so. I was a young kid, you know what I mean? And I guess I was glad to fight, and I was appreciative of the $200 or $300, you know? So I never know. The only thing I knew about, I knew about Rocky. I got $2,500 each time I fought him, and I got $5,000 when I fought Ken Matthews, you know? Those are the three biggest person I ever got, you know. I fought every week, and I was able to send money home to my mother each week, you know.
I know that when you turned pro, I believe you had something like 15 fights in 15 weeks.
That's right. That's
unheard of today.
That's right. I really learned right on the job, yeah. But I was fortunate. I had a very good teacher, you know, and He taught me how to pick punches and block, and he taught me how to slip. You know. So a lot of the fights, I got a lot of losses, but if you check it, you'll find that it was in their town. If not, but if you check where in my hometown, you'll find that most of the fights I fought, I won. You know.
Was that pretty much the only way you could make a living back then? Was traveling to other people's hometowns and fighting them there?
That's right. They weren't going to come where I was, you know. And that's why, in order for me to make a living, in order for me to make money, you know, I had to travel to fight, you know. And everybody wanted to fight me, that's for sure, you know. But it was in their hometown.
What was it like for you, a black man, to be fighting in places like Boise, Idaho, Portland, Oregon, Walla Walla, Washington in the 40s and 50s, when I'm not saying racism was rampant in those particular municipalities, yeah. but it was rampant throughout the country.
It sure
segregated
was.
Hotels,
that's right.
segregated train rides.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I remember when I was in the service, and I had just qualified for my wings, became a paratrooper. So they gave us a pass to go to town. I got on the bus, and when I got on the bus to go into town, I was all right in the post. I could sit anywhere.
This is in Mineral Springs, Texas?
Mineral Wells, Texas, right. When I got on the bus to go into town, at the Army bus, I could ride anywhere. But when I got in town, I had to get on the city bus. I had to go to the back of the bus, you know, which I didn't mind because I had been used to it, you know. Mm-hmm. So I got on this time, and there was some white soldiers in the front. And they started laughing at me and pointing at me, you know, because I had to go to the back. Well, I didn't pay it no mind. I was used to it, you know. But when I got up in the back and I happened to look down there, I saw on the back of their robes was POW, you know, that meant they were prisoners of war, German soldiers, you know, and probably had shot some of the American soldiers, but yet they were able to ride in the front of the bus, and I had to go to the back. And I had the United States Army uniform on. Oh.
Well, how did that, I can't even imagine the anger that you must have felt.
Oh, I'll tell you the truth, I was really shook up. I wanted to come out of retirement, you know, I really wanted to, you know. But I knew that I had no help down there. I was down south, and if you got in trouble there, they could have hung you. The bus came to town, and one of the fellas went into the railroad station. And when he went in, he just went right into the men's bathroom, you know. And
this is another soldier.
Another soldier. And when a little while right after him, a man came running out of there and went outside. When he came back in, he came in with the police, you know. And they went in the bathroom and they come out with this other trooper, and they had him by his arms and lifted him almost. His feet wasn't even touching the ground. They took him outside, you know. And what did he do wrong? He went into the bathroom that said white. Mm-hmm. The one that said black, there was no sign up there had come down, you know. And he didn't know the difference. He just went in the bathroom, you know. And you should have seen how quick a crowd formed around there. Oh, and they were angry. And the fact that I had the uniform on, or we had the uniform on, didn't make a bit of difference to them. They just figured black boys are looking for trouble, you know. You wonder, you know, you say, here you are, you put your life on the line, you're willing to give up your life for the country, you know, and then people like that don't appreciate you.
Did it make you question what you were doing in the Army at the time?
No, I never did, because when I went in, I was gung-ho. I felt like I had something to fight for. My family was living well. We had lived in Maine, you know. Country was very good. People were good. There was no such thing as, nobody ever mentioned the word Niger, you know. No, not where I came from, you know.
Did you hear that word when you were fighting these opponents in their hometowns? Would you hear that word from the crowd?
No, I didn't.
You were assigned to the Pacific Northwest, where you had a pretty interesting duty.
Yeah, I was a paratrooper, and our job, we were supposed to go over and fight we were supposed to make the Normandy jump, but our orders were changed the last minute, and we were sent out to Penfield, Oregon, to jump on forest fires. because the Japanese were sending balloons over from Japan over, and they had incendiary bombs inside of the balloons, and they would land in the forest and explode and set fire to the woods. And what was happening, by the time the firefighters got to it, the fires were out of control. So someone came up with the idea that if they could get the troopers to jump, or someone to jump on the fire and hold it in under control until the firefighters got there, my company commander volunteered for that. And instead of going over to Normandy, that's where we went to Penalty Field, Oregon, and we were jumping on forest fire. We dig a trench all around the fire so that it couldn't go any further, hold it under control, so that when the firefighters came there, they could handle it, you know.
Do you ever marvel over the fact that at 87 years of age, you're still a physical specimen?
Oh,
Your
yeah.
mind is sharp.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody would even take you for a fighter.
Yeah, oh yeah. I like that. I do, I really do.
What do you do to keep yourself in such good physical shape?
I'm married.
You're married? Well, you're happily married.
Yes, I am.
Big difference.
I am. I'm happily married. I got a good wife, yeah.
Tiger Ted Lowry, an American treasure. As far as I'm concerned, an American icon. It's been a pleasure.
Well, my pleasure. It's a
Thank you
pleasure
so
talking
much.
to all of you. Yeah.